Hello, Rachel.
Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty chill, actually. I'm feeling very relaxed, feeling loose. I'm feeling that's how I'm going. You're giving me a concerned look, but I'm giving you an actual answer of how I'm feeling, and you're giving me this quizzical look like, where's this bit gonna go? And guess what, Rachel? The bit is there is no bit. I'm just feeling pretty chill. Chill AF, as the kids say these days. But how about yourself?
What am I meant to do with that, Ryan?
Answer. Jeez, Rachel, you're the teacher here. You know how the protocol goes. Question gets an answer, not a question. Gee
What do you mean?
whiz. Exactly. There you go. Mine was more of a statement, and then you replied with a question. So, that doesn't work as well. If I said to you, you know what I mean, right, Rachel? Correct? Yes, you get it? And then you'll be, what do you mean? But that's okay. We're here to give the yum, Rachel. Could you tell us all about YumYum5, our show, what we do here, and the why the yum exists, all of the good stuff.
Well, I successfully avoided your question, so I gave myself
We'll
a
never
pat
get to
on the
know
back.
how she feels. We'll never know.
No.
Women, am I right? You can never figure it out, guys, huh?
You're fucked. You named our podcast after
We?
No. The listeners know it was you.
The Yumlinks know it's a joint effort.
Like, you told me and made me accept it. That's not really a joint effort. Anyway, it refers to a specific moment in Star Trek Discovery where, when propositioned with murder, a bridge officer flicked her hair back, licked her lips, and said, "Yum, yum," and Ryan finds it very sexy.
Isn't it? No. I don't find it sexy. I find it that they portray it as it's this funny, sexy thing. Isn't that what it's supposed to be? Because she licks her lips and breathily says yum yum, which sounds like a weirdly... Here's how seductive it sounds. When I tell my sister about the yum yum moment and that my podcast is called Yum Yum, my sister replies with, "I don't want to hear my little brother say the words yum yum because it's weirdly sexual."
Yes, it is. But I just wanted to point out that you find it sexy as well as it being sexual.
I find it confusing.
Yeah.
I mean, does it turn me on? Of course it does. As it does you, as it does everyone.
There we go. We get the truth.
But it turns everyone on.
You are just projecting on me.
It's like saying that
Don't
water
find
is
it.
wet, Rachel. Of course I find water wet, as do you.
I don't find...
Oh, you don't find water wet? Okay, we'll find out what Rachel does find wet. So, we are here to talk about Babylon 5.
Ryan. It's so dirty. So fast.
I feel like that's you projecting there. I didn't say anything.
You did. You were in third.
I'm just being chill AF.
Oh, you're just really annoyed that I refuse to talk about how wet I was.
You're the one who's bringing it up. You're the one.
No.
Did anyone hear me say that? Did anyone hear me say that? Rachel said it. I didn't say nothing. I was just trying to say that we're talking about Babylon 5 from a spoiler perspective, meaning if people have not seen the series before, you should watch it. But you're the one who wants to brag?
Nope. This week we're talking about Hunter Prey.
Episode lucky number 13
of season 2 of Babylon 5. Somewhere in the station's 5-mile expanse.
This is from the DVD description.
Fugitive doctor, Tony Steedman, hides. Earth Alliance orders are clear. Shoot to kill. But
And there's more.
Sheridan suspects The runaway might be innocent of the charges against him.
I'll come out with it. I think this is one of the most boring episodes of Babylon 5. That's my history with it.
But it's all A-plot, right?
Yeah.
And you like all A-plot stories, don't you? You're getting what you asked for.
Survivors was all A-plot too. Doesn't mean I like that one, does it?
No.
But no, in all seriousness, I've watched this one, of course. I watch every episode when I do a rewatch. I never skip any because I'm not a pussy. And
Because it would be wrong if you were a pussy.
Yes, it would be, because I'm hard and you're wet. So...
I don't know if this will get to you, Mary, but I'm tired.
But now, in all seriousness, to take the funny away, because I do not find this episode to be all that enjoyable. I've never found it to be particularly thrilling. I've come to realize that perhaps the man on the run format in science fiction isn't for me. I'm not objecting to it. I like it in thrillers and in movies. I like The Fugitive. I like these things.
I was about to ask, but you like The Fugitive?
Yeah, it's got Jakar in it. He's the one-armed man. And perhaps it's a sci-fi genre thing in which I don't care for it over there, because I'm trying to recollect a man on the run episode in one of my science fiction shows that I like. I'm really struggling off the top of my head. Now, I haven't given it a proper sit down and think and gone through everything and going, oh, of course, there's that one episode of Deep Space Nine or Enterprise or something, but I'm really struggling. And the point being is Hunter Prey is just not an episode for me. I find it tedious. I find it dull. It is not as if this episode does anything specifically glaring or wrong like Survivors. This has a good production. The acting all around is fairly decent. It has nice, cute little moments. It has Zach Allen. I mean, that's a winner chicken dinner, but it just does not leave any impression on me at all, other than, oh, that's the episode where we see Kosh's ship. And that's about it. That's a long-lasting impression it leaves upon me. Yes, I know it reveals important information about the president, but it's not as if we, the audience, didn't already gather that at this point. It's just now our characters have a concrete proof of that, but
not enough proof to go public with,
yes.
So it doesn't even feel as important, because nothing's going to change immediately because of this episode.
Exactly right. What about you? What's been your dynamic with Hunter Prey?
This is an episode where I go, oh yeah, that's a bit shit. Like, it's there. It's like, oh yeah, but it is a bit shit. Like, it's serviceable, workmanlike. Like, nothing is glaringly awful about this episode. It's just fine.
I will point out one glaringly awful thing. Garibaldi wears the detective hat. I think I said it in Survivors, and I'll say it again if I didn't. Anytime you wax on that hat or a hat, you're going to be in for a rough time.
Yeah.
I get it. You want your sci-fi noir, but I just don't think Babylon 5 is a place to do your sci-fi detective noir show. And this episode kind of proves it to me, because we'll get into Garibaldi. But as you're saying, this doesn't, like, you're like me, that it's a kind of shitty episode. But it's not shitty in the way that we've had in this season or in the previous one or in the future. Would you agree to that? This isn't a...
It's a mediocre episode, not a bad episode.
Yeah.
And it's an important distinction.
It is. It is an important distinction. So there is mainly just the one plot, and it comes at it from a few different angles. We have the doctor who is, what's his name? Everett Jacobs, who is the doctor for the president, the former and the current one. He is on the run because he has classified information. He has medical records proving that the current President Clark faked his illness, and that means that he on purposely planned to get off the ship so that he didn't die.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that he's involved in some way, shape, or form
He's
with the
part of the
assassination,
conspiracy.
which we've already gathered from context clues and subtlety.
But now they got proof.
Now we can.
Nothing happens with that proof in this episode. He gives it to a lady.
A sexy lady, might I add. A very short, sexy lady who's in a long-time relationship with actor Jimmy Smits.
I just found her annoying.
You found her annoying?
Yeah.
You found her annoying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get into that. So we were watching the episode and we were kind of noting down between each other when just having little jabs at the episode because we weren't enjoying it about certain performances, certain actors. And I think we had a bit of a butting of heads when it comes to this character. So do you want to lead us in on this side of the plot and which character we're talking about here?
So Sheridan sees a red bit of ribbon.
Good eye, by the way. He's a really good eye to have seen that right up there in the corner on a piece of fucking metal and any old corridor that they walk on.
It's very secret clue that, anybody
could see.
Missed.
Or could have missed, yeah.
But I like that about it as well, is that Sheridan easily could have missed it. And nobody who isn't aware of the code, whatever the code is, would just think nothing of it.
But he noticed.
It's able to be a clear signal and blend in.
Yeah. Which is part of Sheridan's law, is you gotta have a clear signal and it blends in. Now, he didn't say that in this episode, but I felt Sheridan's law.
Yes. So then he goes off and meets up with Lady, who has been sent by the General.
General Haig.
Yes. Who we know. We've seen and we met in person. No. So she's just like, you gotta do this. And he's just like, I gotta do what?
Okay, yeah, what is her
You want me to do what?
Could you actually tell me what is her function in the story?
Other
than to tell him that he needs to do the things, which we already gathered.
Yep. It's just that it's not Babylon 5 on their own. Like, it's linking back to what Haig said when he visited Babylon 5.
Oh, I got it. But does she do anything?
No.
Oh, she just stands there?
Yeah.
And takes up time?
Yes.
And she just... she does give you exposition to explain why the Doctor's on Babylon 5 and not elsewhere. It is one of those classic examples of the script having to justify why the plot is happening currently.
Dude.
He got jumpy and he went elsewhere. Yeah. That's
the dude from...
The dude. The Big Lebowski. Himself. The dude.
No, Ryan.
The Doctor, Jacob... Everett,
no.
Whatever? Everett Jacob, sorry?
No. The dude who's searching.
Oh, Cranston.
Cranston easily could have gotten that information.
He could have just dispensed that too.
Yeah, it easily could have been from him.
Yeah, 100%. So
he was on his way to Io, but we caught up with him. So
he split.
He jumped. Because they know that he got on a transport that left for Babylon 5.
Yeah.
So it's a very tiny piece of information that they didn't already have of why he jumped, right? And then the other thing of the secret resistance was involved. That's the only two things that he's missing.
Yeah, and
that she gives us. And it feels fucking useless to make a whole character for that.
Yeah, there's several characters here that I would argue could be removed or condensed down into one thing. So with her, some of the information she provides could have been given by Cranston, and he could have given it in confidence to Sheridan because he thinks Sheridan is a good man who's on his side, and then he's being duped because Sheridan is in fact not on his side. that would have been playing into the cat and mouse game even further, right? But no, she's here, and you did not like her acting.
No.
What was the problem?
I didn't like it, the vibe of it. Like, the sense of arrogance that she seemed to have of, like, I am here to give you orders, and sort of felt like a weird power trip. And it's just like, we have no idea who this woman is. So I was just like, I don't like your character, and I don't like the flair that you are giving to this character, because it just felt like there's not anything on the page and the actor's like, I'm gonna bring it.
Yeah, I did not have as much of an issue with her because I felt as if her performance was in line with the one half of the story in this particular episode. So to me, she gave a very film noir type of performance. This was obviously exacerbated by the environment she was in which she was in the underground, very smoky, foggy type of pedestal. And she's having those conversations in which she's got her back slightly turned to Sheridan, and he's looking, and very framed in that old school noir way in which she's the tough lady who's also a bit of a cipher, and we can't tell where her intentions lie. But also
noir.
We don't
like Babylon 5
because
doing
Babylon
noir.
5 when it does noir, it goes a little bit over the line of being too stylized in a show that is
then it like
pretty
it
ground.
campy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
In a way that feels really odd for the show. It's like,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, noir can be camp, but it's just like noir plus sci-fi plus camp.
That could work. That
feels messy in the way that they do it.
It can work, but not in this universe.
No, it never sits right for us.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right for myself. And so her performance didn't bug me because it was in line with the episode itself. But in the grander context of the series, it does stand out to me, not as overtly as other performances, but it does stand out as she's giving a performance from a different type of show.
Yes.
And I also have a problem with this character because this introduces her with this air of, oh, she'll come back. And she never comes back.
No.
This feels like this is a character that's going to be pivotal to the storyline that they will go down. And she and General Haig never come back. So on a rewatch value, there's almost this spotlight shone upon her that doesn't feel. I mean, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, like it's like
there's an importance here, and I don't know how that is being displayed because you and I both feel this. There's this importance put here to her character, her performance, and what she's doing. But since she's only in this episode, you look at it through a microscope and you ask the question, which I already asked: what's she doing? Yep. What's her function here? Because it's not as if she's pretending. You know, it would be a great reveal. Cranston comes on. Hello, I'm bureaucrat bastard man, ha ha ha, and this is my right hand woman, and it's her. That would have been a great twist.
Something.
And she could be undermining Cranston whilst also undermining Sheridan at the same time to appease Cranston. That would have been something to make her feel as if she belonged within the plot instead of what I think my core problem with the episode is. It is an episode in which plots just exist next to each other, not woven together as neatly as we've been experiencing.
And plots are happening because they need to happen.
Like the Kosh stuff, you could argue is the B plot. Is Kosh wanting to engage with Sheridan and Sheridan wanting to engage with Kosh. And it does tie in to the episode with the ship and all of that, as does her stuff with the Cranston stuff, and it all does technically tie in, but it comes across like season 1, in which they do, but there's this separation between them. Again, with her, it comes down to, Is she really servicing the story? Is she really offering that much that other characters couldn't already be doing?
Until next time, Captain.
There's always a next time, isn't there?
You better pray it stays that way, Captain. Because as long as there is a next time, at least there's a chance we'll win.
There's the merchant guy who refuses to give the doctor the identa card, and because he wants it too much. And then there's the head thug gangster guy played by Richard Mole himself. And I kind of look at that and go, can't they just be the same guy? Can't they just be the one shitty criminal guy that he runs into and he shouldn't have run into him? Because
Fair.
I'm looking at this
It's
episode
like,
because it's one
Or
that's...
if it was just like, okay, you want it, and then like taking him to that back room and then knocking him out and being like, you wanted it too bad.
Exactly.
You're more valuable to me than what I would get paid for this identity card.
It would make it come across as more natural, again, quicker paced, because this one's a slower paced episode for myself, and less corny in a way, because I find it extremely corny in lots of TV shows when that type of interaction happens, and then it like with the merchant and the doctor, and then around the corner a creepy looking guy turns to the camera and gives a smirk like, I'm gonna be in the story now too.
Yeah.
It's always cheesy to me. It's very corny. It's something that I do not miss from television. It has faded over time a bit more so, and Richard Mole's a great actor. I think he's very fun. I think he's very over the top here, and giving him more screen time and giving him that role to be the sleazy merchant guy that maybe Garibaldi already knows or not, I would have delighted in that in itself. But again,
Should have been Necross.
and I get distracted because the merchant guy has appeared in Babylon 5.
Yeah, he has.
Do you remember who he was?
No.
He was the guy who gave Londo the eye in Signs and Portents.
Oh, yeah.
He's not the same character, but it is very distracting that he's playing two weird, criminal, sleazy Earth guys. Stick some alien makeup on his face to at least distinguish him. He's wearing almost the same outfit. He's basically serving a similar function where he is this criminal man who's got an object that's important to the plot. I've always found that supremely distracting when I watch this episode. But
Well, I liked him enough to have him back.
Evidently, that side of the story is Franklin and Garibaldi have taken it upon themselves to look for the doctor, and Franklin gets a cute...
rewind.
Yes.
Okay.
That's me rewinding.
Okay. So we get set up that like the search is going ahead. They almost get Jacobs. Sheridan's been provided with this information and meets up with Ivanova and Garibaldi so that they're all on the same page.
Yes.
Then Garibaldi calls Franklin to say happy birthday when it's not his birthday. And I love this little touch because it's so fucking Garibaldi. He's put in like one frame of speech bubbles of like, come to my quarters as soon as you can.
Wear
like,
something
ASAP.
casual.
Wear something casual. And I love it because at first thought, I was just like,
It's like a Looney Tunes with little speech bubbles.
no, that is also great. That is also, that's not what I thought about. What I thought about, I was like, well, like he's hiding this thing. But like if anybody's looking through these logs, like obviously it's being stored somewhere.
On the computer.
On the computer somewhere because it's being able to be replayed. So I'm like, what's the point of doing that? If like you kind of reveal what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, oh no, Garibaldi would totally play that off as like, oh no, we're fucking.
I like Garibaldi and Franklin teaming together.
Yeah.
They're a fun duo.
Like,
They're
they're
chalk and
finding
cheese.
how Franklin fits in. Because
He would know this Doctor Man
Yeah.
because he's the Doctor character,
Yes.
and every Doctor knows each other.
very convenient. So it's like, oh yeah,
He
he was my professor at Harvard.
Has he known every Doctor character that's been in the show thus far? He knew the previous
I think so.
chief medical officer on Babylon 5. He knew the archaeologist guy.
Yes, but he didn't.
Oh, he didn't know June Lockhart. Well, you
we found it.
put me over your lap, JMS, and spank me till I'm red because you caught me out there. Oh boy, I can't believe I question the word of JMS with continuity here. Franklin doesn't know every Doctor. What a fucking fool I am.
He knows-
He doesn't know June Lockhart.
He knows every prestigious doctor.
He
that
knows
comes on
every
board.
he knows every male Doctor that's come on board.
Oh!
Yeah, I said it.
Damn!
I said it. I'm brave. And guess what? He even knows a male alien Doctor. We'll get to that plague episode one day. But yeah, it's all adding up. I guess Franklin is a real part of the boys' club.
Well, maybe now you'll admit that you were wrong about Jacob.
I didn't say I believe them.
Yeah, but you didn't say you believe me either.
I don't believe anybody.
What a wonderful world you live in.
It's always very difficult when discussing an episode that you find boring because you have to break down why it's boring for an individual
and try
what-
and make it not boring to listen to.
Well, no. I guess that's a point. But no, I find it very, very hard and difficult to actually break down what a script or a piece of direction has done to fail to engage me in a way that's not obvious. Like TKO, it's obvious why that fails.
Yes.
An episode like this, why this fails is less obvious, but you feel it when you watch it. I sit here going,
But I do.
like my reaction is, and I want to break down
Okay.
why this
I have
side
a
with
question.
Garibaldi and Franklin is lackluster to me, even though I find the characters and the actors to have good chemistry with one another. It doesn't really amount to much. There's no scenes I remember from them two. There's no real lines
Yes.
of dialogue or wisdom or a juxtaposition between the two men. It is what you brought up a moment ago, which was the speech bubble thing. That's the big thing I kind of get out of it.
Yep. So my question is, do you find this episode more dull each time you watch it?
No, it's the same.
It's the same.
It's the same every single time I've watched it.
Because I get more annoyed each rewatch, but then I forget about it, and then I watch it again, and I'm like, oh, fuck this. This goes nowhere.
Well,
And it's just like, there's just these tiny little slivers of things
yeah.
that are in this episode that you're like, well, I suppose that does matter. That does come back. Like, there's so many tiny moments that are spread
The Kosh,
throughout.
the Kosh stuff.
Like, the Kosh stuff, like, comes in, but, like, you could reshuffle, like,
Yeah, you could put in another
you
episode.
could reshuffle, like, 3 moments, and this episode would be completely vacuous.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, what a waste.
Yeah, this
'Cause,
is a
like-
definite. We have to get to 22 episodes this season, but we're
Like,
going to still push.
Stretch it a bit more. Stretch it a bit more.
I'm going to ask you this. A couple episodes back, we talked about an episode called All Alone in the Night, also
Yes.
written by JMS, in which you stated that it was an episode that felt like it had to be sci-fi, so it put a sci-fi thing in there, but it didn't really service the story. This one doesn't have that. You could argue Kosh, but really, other than aesthetics and jargon, there's no real sci-fi gimmick to this one. This is a cop procedural.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
The chip.
Yeah. So
The chip is the small sci-fi thing, and like the fact that they're
The
on
data
a space
crystal.
station, and yeah, but it's just like, well, make that a USB.
It's a MacGuffin. It's a briefcase. It's the briefcase from Pulp Fiction. It doesn't matter. It's a thing that's desired and wanted. But what do you think now that you have got an episode in which JMS really took his hands off the wheel and said, I'm not going to really transplant a big sci-fi thing onto what is a generic script?
Yep.
How do you feel now?
I still just don't like it.
I think why I do not dislike this one upon the rewatch more every time is because I remember its counterpart, Survivors.
Yes.
Survivors is a great counterpart to this in terms of how we've improved. This isn't great. It's serviceable, but Survivors to me had the worst direction, worst production, worst acting, worst line, all of that stuff. This one doesn't. It is all there. It is reaching the bare minimum. It is serviceable. It is okay. All the actors are doing a good job. There's no cringeworthy lines of dialogue. There's no awkward action. It is perfectly fine if I was watching a boilerplate cop procedural show. Once you remove the limited sci-fi aesthetics from this, that's what you've got. And I do have to commend that there isn't this forced sci-fi thing on here like there was in the Sheridan plot in All Alone in the Night. But you're not really replacing it with much else. It is, we have to get the doctor and then he's going to give us the information we all already know. They all already know this. We already know this. And again, on a rewatch factor, this isn't the smoking gun that brings down the Clark regime. It is just a little thing. And you could argue, well, it's all the little things that stuck them in the big things.
And that's what they're trying to tell you in the episode. But it doesn't
make this more enjoyable to watch.
Here is a proposed metaphor. It feels like this episode feels like a suck it up and eat your vegetables.
Every cop knows you got to keep your strength up on a stakeout, so I strongly suggest you eat something. Now, you're a doctor. You should know better.
Cranston is the lead antagonistic foe here. He is the person that is hunting down the doctor. What did you think of him?
He's nothing. He's flat like cardboard. Like, he's just, like, there's nothing to his character to find interesting. He's not even, like, he doesn't even feel like he's competent enough to be a threat. Like, we don't see him do anything particularly effective other than, like, yes, I will explain the idea of this chip and these scanners. It's like, that has nothing to do with his skill. He has this technology. And it's just like, well, yeah, like, you're putting all of these hurdles up. And Cranston's one of them. But they're so low. And we know that our characters are so much more capable than the antagonists that they're facing.
Yeah,
it's just like, it just feels so cheap when Garibaldi is stabbed for steaks.
Yeah, whoa, I almost forgot about that. Yeah, 100%. You're correct there. Cranston, describe his personality.
He doesn't have one.
Is he good or bad? As a person,
I wouldn't judge him either way because, like, I would say bad because he's part of the, like, wing of the government or whatever that Clark has full control.
He's a representative of the crop system
over. But, like, not only is he just a representative of that system, because, like, all of our cast technically is, right?
Yeah. Human.
But yeah, he's a part of the corrupt system. It's the rotten core.
Okay.
because this is under Clark's direct control. But he's just doing his job. We don't know if he knows about any of the other fucking shit that's actually going on.
Okay, would you describe him as competent or skilled?
Competent? Because it's just like, if they weren't working against him,
Mm-hmm.
his plan would have succeeded. He was very methodical. With the help of Garibaldi's well-trained security team, they would have succeeded. In a relatively short period of time, they would have disrupted everything, but they would have been successful.
Yeah. I would describe him as generic. He is the function and nothing else. There's two roads you could go down with this character to make him interesting to watch and for somebody you want to see be overcome. Because that's the thing too. I never once felt as if he was a genuine threat for the crew at any point. He did not offer anything. So there's two ways you could go here. You could go with the Ron Canada from last season, who played the Captain Pierce, who wanted to go down to Epsilon 3.
Yes.
And he had stakes in the game. He was a part of the system. He was ordered to do what he wanted to do the job, but he had a point of view to offer. He was antagonistic, he was a blowhard, but he was also reasonable at points. And you could also have...
Layered.
Yeah, and in that camp, in that option, the first one, you also have Ari Benzane, who is an obvious prick, but he is using the letter of the law to defeat the spirit of the law. He's an absolute asshole, but he's methodical, and he is someone to overcome. You want to see him get punched in the face. You want to see him be defeated by his own petard. Then the second option you could go with is the naive, clueless option, in which this person is a part of the corrupt system, but they don't know it. They think that they are genuinely part of the good. So I'm thinking of Mr. Lance at the very end of the season, the guy who wants to sign the Non-Aggression Act. But he's antagonistic. But he's somebody you want to see overcome because we know he's wrong. But he doesn't know he's wrong. And or in the start of season 3, Mr. Indawi, the guy who is going around asking everyone what they think of the shadow ships, in which he comes across as a guy that doesn't know he's in a bad guy system. He's genuinely asking questions, and he's kind of a naive, dumb guy, but he is someone that you have to worry about because he's interrogating things that the characters don't want interrogated. That's what you need. You need one of those two options here. This guy is the device. He is, hello, I'm JMS, sitting down writing the script, and here's my plot. Oh, we've got to have some antagonist. Cranston. And he's an antagonist because he wants to find the Doctor. Anything else? Oh, cast an actor, of course.
Okay, we're done with that. We're moving on to the next thing. Okay, what's the next thing on the production meeting agenda?
And it's unfortunate because he's a great actor, this guy. He's also, we'll get to an actor spotlight, but he was also in Bill and Ted. He was the teacher. And he's in a numerous amount of things. And I've enjoyed him, but here he is just, he's probably the most forgettable villain or antagonist we've had.
Definitely down the bottom of that list.
Maybe you didn't hear me. That's an ambassadorial vessel.
He won't know. I want it scanned. Now that should not be a problem for you, Captain, if there's nothing to hide.
We should talk about Downtown. It's probably one of the funniest and smartest moments that Sheridan has in the whole episode because
so fucking dumb.
But it's
at the
played
same time.
but Bruce and the character of Sheridan played off so well that you, the audience, are kind of tangled up in it, but you also know that there's an element of bullshit there. It's a great double, it's a great balancing act there.
Ivanova is key to tipping it. So Sheridan is desperate to try and get some extra time for Garibaldi and Franklin, who are investigating down below. So he is like, oh, fuck, they're about to figure this out. What the fuck are we going to do? And then he just tries this. Like, I read it as he doesn't even know if it's going to work.
No.
But it's like, he doesn't like the odds, but he's going to play the hand anyway. So, Cranston, I almost forgot his name again.
Yeah.
Cranston is just like, he must be in down below. The doctor must be in down below. We've searched all of these other sectors. It has to be down there somewhere. Then Sheridan goes, oh, next time you'll say that he's in downtown. Not down below.
What's downtown?
Cranston's like,
I haven't heard about that.
What?
I haven't been informed about
I
downtown.
haven't seen on any of your maps downtown. And Sheridan says that it's basically a closed off area between two bulkheads.
Yeah, and it's this nightmare. They'll have to blast through all of these things, and they're near the recycling of they're near the poo, basically, and it's going to be absolutely horrid, and it's going to be a waste of time, and
But it'll buy
Garibaldi time.
a couple of hours.
And it was a nice moment.
If they're lucky.
See, I have no basis for this, but this comes across because this scene is so well written and crystalline in its delivery that I have the sensation when I watch it that this is a scene that JMS had in his head and the episode spawned from there.
Yeah, has the feeling of being the duck's eye.
Yeah, as David Lynch would say. Yes, it's the duck's eye.
Hole in the donut.
It's a hole in the donut. Cranston just leaves.
Bye-bye.
We'll never think of him again, and they get the doctor and they get the information and they hide the doctor inside of Kosh's ship because they set it up at the beginning. They've set it up throughout, and Kosh's ship is this alive thing that cocoons him, and they put him to sleep and sings him a little song. That's memorable because it's weird.
Yes. The other thing that I want to say that I find like so cool, it's so weird. So we find out for sure that the Vorlons use organic technology. Their ship is a living thing, and we later learn how deep the connection is between a Vorlon and their ship.
And we know that it's going to be set up as organic tech because Franklin's former teacher got referenced in this episode, which was the same episode that brought up the idea of organic technology being a thing in this universe. So JMS is really threading the needle here.
Laid out there. But I love that it's like, I see Kosh's ship as kind of like his loyal dog.
Yeah.
Like it's his pet and his friend, but they're like not on equal levels of sentience, right?
Oh, of course not, no.
But I love that essentially his pet can temporarily tattoo its skin.
Oh, yeah.
Because it writes a little message on the side of itself.
For Kosh.
For Kosh, like a hi buddy. I don't know what it actually says.
It says hi BB.
Hey BB.
It actually says in the trivia what it says. I think it's the name of one of the graphic, like the special effects people, whatever. Just a fun piece of business there for you.
It's just like we get the he's sending a message and communicating with Kosh.
Would this be as interesting at all if it wasn't Kosh? Because what I want to get into is the Kosh side of this story has no real plot.
No.
But it's fascinating because Kosh is an enigma by design.
And then that's what they're talking about, is the fact that he's an enigma.
So even them having him be in an episode, let alone having him be in a plot in which the characters are sick of him being an enigma, gets you to sit at the front of your seat on the edge of it, leaning forward, because will they finally crack this egg open?
They keep on telling me how long it's been and they still don't know anything.
And he asks the question, what do you want? And we know that's a big question in the show. And Kosh gets all angry by it. Oh,
don't you ask me that.
We're building up stuff. We're learning more about them and their organic technology. They're even more mysterious. We're getting a little bit more.
And now it makes you want more answers.
And it's making it obvious that Sheridan and Kosh are going to have more stories together.
Relationship.
In which Kosh is going to teach him how to fight legends, and you wonder what's that going to be like? What legends are they going to fight? Is he going to teach him how to fight the shadows, obviously? And all of that's really great, but it's only great if you've watched the show. Because in the context of this episode,
like, oh, fuck, what do I care?
It only matters because I am keen to know more about Kosh, which then brings me to my next question for you. On a rewatch value, what does this do for you? Because we know Kosh.
It makes me sadder that Kosh dies.
Really? Because his ship's alive and kills himself? Is that what you remember? Because that's what I think of when I think of his ship. It does nothing for me.
Like,
it does nothing for me on the rewatch. That does.
I think of how Kosh sacrifices
himself for Sheridan.
Yeah. And how, like, he knows that that's where it's going to lead, but he walks the path with Sheridan anyway. And I'm like, oh, I like good Kosh.
I guess.
The more I get to know good Kosh, the closer we are to bad Kosh.
I get none of that when I rewatch this episode, though. To me, it is I see the show Bible, and this is the part where it is, now we must start this part of the story with Kosh.
Okay.
Rather than me getting emotionally involved with where it goes, because this episode, even though Kosh is here and he says kooky, mysterious lines, I'm not endeared to him here either. That will come later. I mean, I am endeared to him in a way because I love how fucking weird he is, obviously, but all I'll say is next episode, that episode has a Kosh side to it that is far better.
Far better.
Far
Leaps and
better.
Fucking bounds better.
One moment of perfect beauty.
I have nothing more to say on the episode itself.
Our cast gives solid performances. They feel very much like their characters. We don't get any random weird lines where it's just like, really? You're making that character say that? The direction is serviceable. And I'm ready for the spotlight.
Well, I want to pull you up here.
What?
I just realized you're going through our cast. It made me go through the cast. And it made me realize that we didn't delve into a very important question that we always ask. Who would have said yum yum in this episode? You see, you pulled the car over to brag about how wet you are, and I kind of forgot to ask about that. And honestly, I have a pick of who could have said yum yum, but I would also argue this episode is very yum yum less.
Yes, it does not have a lot of YYE. I think the dude that Garibaldi shoots at, I think his name was Max. I said it more confidently earlier, I swear.
Oh, you mean Richard Mole?
Yes. Could have said yum yum.
Yeah, he's my second. My actual first is the guy I tried to remove from the script, the merchant guy.
Yeah.
He just had that kind of line delivery where, oh, you wanted too much. Yum, yum. I could have seen him saying yum, yum when counting his money. and wringing his hands and wearing Ferengi makeup.
Credits.
Yeah, credits. Yes, yum yum. I think him, but you want to get into it? The Actor's Spotlight. So, Rachel, this is the part of the show in which we discuss an actor or actress that appeared in the episode. We go over their performance, what they were in this episode, what we've seen them from before, and any other information about the person themselves. We are going to be discussing Dr. Everett Jacobs himself, that actor. He is obviously
sticking with the typical. Well, I would say that it's typical with the actors that are mentioned in the DVD. Summaries.
There's like 3 or 4 in this episode we could have gone with because Richard Mole is somebody we could easily do a spotlight on. He's a legend.
Absolutely. But
and
Tony Steedman is the one that's referenced directly by JMS writing those DVD.
I have no problem with his performance in this episode.
Nope.
He is perfectly serviceable.
Yes.
He is the nice old British man.
Uh-huh.
We take this for granted a lot, and sometimes it can be a hindrance in a story, but you see this guy here, and you automatically know that he's a good man just from the visuals of him. There's no moment when you're watching it do you question the validity of the character, because the actor himself looks like a nice person, or that the character is a good man. That can be a pro and a con sometimes. There are many times in which I watch a thing and I go, they're evil because they cast this actor. We talked about that with Star Trek Discovery with Lorca, right? Where there's no reveal there because they cast Jason Isaacs. He always plays baddies and he looks like a villain, and then he's a villain, and it's not a surprise. This is the flip of that, where they've got somebody who looks like a nice person, and they're playing a down and out person, somebody who's on the run, somebody who you want to see succeed and you want them to do well. I think that's very important to point out when it comes to casting, is a lot of casting comes down to visuals as well, and he looks like a good person. And then, of course, he's British, and he has a very nice, gentlemanly British accent, which then further endears you to this notion that he is an eloquent man, a distinguished man, and a good man. Whether that is a good thing, like whether that is something we should be praising in terms of like he's British so we think he's nice. That's not always the case. We have many evil British people, and even many evil British people in this show, but I just want to highlight that because he's not given anything as an actor here. He's not given anything, but he himself, his presence is delivering stuff that the script isn't, if you catch my drift there.
Yeah. He elevates it with a solid performance.
Yeah, and just his being elevates it. We're not saying this is an elevation in which this is a groundbreaking performance or anything, but it is an elevation nonetheless. Anything else you want to comment about his performance or any moments in particular?
No, I enjoyed it. I think, like, that's a good thing to bring up. Like, it's not only a quality performance, it's one that I enjoy watching him on screen. I enjoy seeing him interact, even though, like, you know, he spends a lot of it just being like a sad, tired old man.
Or with a gag in his mouth.
Yeah.
So I know him from a few things. I've always known this actor. When I've seen this episode, I always see him, and he has a very distinct look about him. He's bald up top, but he's got hair around the sides. Sometimes it's been long and things, and he has this big white mustache. He has this white hair. He has this English accent. And I always remember him from Scrooged. That's the thing I recollect him from, where he plays like the head waiter. Or, yeah, that's the head waiter. I remember him from that because that's a movie I regularly watch at Christmas time, and that movie's filled with character actors. I mean, that movie has Bobcat Goldthwait. I'm one. But of course, many people, such as yourself, would also know him from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where he plays
Socrates.
He plays Socrates, who is one of the funnier historical characters they get. To me, it's a real tie between him and Lincoln, they're both very fun. Of course, the winner's Napoleon in that, by the way. There's no contest. The funniest is Napoleon. But those two are pretty good because they get actors who you just imagine look like those guys. You're like, yeah, I believe that. And so many people know from that. And I do admit it has been distracting when I watch this episode because there are two actors from that movie in this episode. And this episode's after that film. It's just very weird to me that there are two Bill and Ted actors in Hunter Parade. What are the odds? Yeah. What are the odds? And they share no scenes together, so they can't even have the chance to recollect on the magical times, most likely, but who knows? Anything for you? Anything else? I have a few other things that I know him from, but what about you? Has he popped up in any episodes or movies that you're aware of?
There were a few others. One of them that I picked up because I was like, oh, of course he was in this show.
Mm-hmm.
He was in an episode of The Golden Girls.
Everybody was.
Where he played a painter that was about to die, and the girls needed a new roof. So they were trying to con this dying artist out of a painting, like pay for it on the cheap, and then sell it for a profit so that they could pay for their new roof.
Okay.
Because I was like, who was he? I was really hoping that he would have been a love interest for Betty White at one stage. But
I feel he would have been too old. I know they were old, but he was older.
He was old, thus he was dying.
In Golden Girls, yes.
Yes.
Is that
He
it?
has 140 credits.
Yeah.
Solid piece of work. He was in 2 shows that I've only watched because of you. So I'll hand it back to you.
Well, I'm imagining one of them's the British Empire.
Yes.
He plays Saint Peter, because of course he does.
Absolutely.
I remember him in that. I think that's series 5. I think it's the finale of that one where Brutus dies and goes to heaven, or so he thinks. He's very fun in that.
Yeah.
He's a comedic actor from the stuff that I've seen. If we go early in his career, he's far more of a dramatic. He was in War and Peace. He was in a production of Othello. This guy is obviously a classically trained actor. But I've seen him in comedic roles such as Married with
Traditionally
Children.
British.
He was in the trilogy in Married with Children in which they went over to England and he was the mayor of London, or the mayor of the town, I should say, they visited. And those are the things. The other one I've got is a very underrated, and I want to recommend it to people, a very underrated John Candy movie called Delirious. I won't give away the plot to that movie. It's one that people should enjoy for themselves, but it is basically John Candy gets into some really fun hijinks. It's got some amazing character actors in that movie too. It's a very underrated John Candy movie, but those are the things I primarily know him for. Comedic roles that really blossomed in the late 80s onwards to the end of his career. When I looked at the earlier parts, he seemed to be far more of a straight-laced British acting person who did your usual fare of adaptations to TV. Yes. Rarely any movies until later, it looked like. More TV.
So, out of his 140 credits, he did 106 different TV shows, 12 films, 12 TV movies, and 10 miniseries.
He's done a couple of things with Anthony Hopkins over his career, he did, I should say.
So he was born in 1927, and his first credit, according to IMDb, was in 1956.
Okay, interesting, yeah.
And he passed away in 2001.
He was married to, I'm forgetting the actress's name off the top of my head, but you know her best, Rachel, as, which character is she?
She's a nun in Called the Midwife.
There you go. Rachel narrowed it down. Rachel's watched a lot of Called the Midwife, and Rachel knows her character as Nun, which really narrows it down.
But they're not all nuns.
But there's lots of nuns.
there's like 5 nuns in that show, Ryan.
Okay, so she's Miranda Hart. Okay, we nailed it.
Miranda Hart isn't a nun.
Oh,
She's
isn't
just
she?
a midwife.
Oh, I thought she wore a habit. Is there another show where Miranda Hart wears a habit?
So they wear the hats because they're midwives.
I know.
They don't wear proper habits. They just have hats.
Can we pitch the Soul Hunter Call the Midwife again, like we did in our second episode? That was fun. But yeah, he was married to that actress whose name I'm unfortunately forgetting, who's in a ton of stuff herself and still acting today. And she's a legend in her own right. And as you were saying, he did a lot of TV work. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it does seem like there came a point in the 80s where he said, I want to do some movies now.
Yeah, it does feel that. Like
why?
Oh, I can do this too?
What turned him around then? Oh, have you seen any pictures of what he looked like young? He looks like how he does old, but with brown hair. He was always a bald on top type of dude, on and off with the mustache. Sometimes he had it, sometimes he didn't. This is one of those guys who really just never aged, huh? He just always kind of looked like that. I found out an interesting piece of trivia that also has a sad conclusion to it, which was he was a desired role for 2 different Doctor Who episodes or stories. And in the end, he didn't get those roles. And in the end, he never got to be in Doctor Who at all.
Oh.
It's so bizarre to me that this man was the desired option for a couple of roles in Doctor Who and just by happenstance never got them. And in the end, he never got to be in Doctor Who.
Also, when I first saw a picture of his wife, Judy Parfitt, who plays Sister Monica Joan in Call the Midwife.
We have a large Call the Midwife listener base, and they were all shouting, Rachel, you know this. We forgive you, Ryan, for not knowing that Miranda Hart wasn't a nun in the show because you haven't watched Call the Midwife, Ryan. We understand your plight, Ryan.
I was hesitant is because I could remember that she was Sister Joan, but I remembered that wasn't her full name.
You didn't want to upset the Catholics out there either.
Yes. So I was like, I can't remember what the full thing is. When I looked at her picture, I was like, she looks so similar to the first female companion in Doctor Who.
Like in the very first Doctor Who?
That's obviously not Susan, but the teacher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Interesting. Yeah, okay. Interesting. So any other information you've got on our acting?
I have a game for you.
Okay. I love games.
Yes.
Was he in Babylon 5? Yes, he was.
Yes.
Was he a doctor in it? Yes. Did Franklin know him? Of course, he was a boy. Was he wet? I didn't check. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
I'm being chill.
Kosh's ship didn't seem to leave him oozing.
Yeah, oh man, if they just rub this guy in some Vaseline...
I know, right?
Would this be a 10 out of 10 episode? Maybe.
Mm-hmm. No. So, as I mentioned, he starred in a lot of TV. And the majority of his roles were one-offs.
Mm-hmm.
Only a few get above 10. Right?
Now, in all fairness, there are some that are just TV miniseries that he was probably in all of them, but there's only 6 of them.
Yes. Yeah. So, we are going to go through the shows where he appeared the most.
Okay.
And you are going to try and guess how many episodes he was in each of these shows.
All right.
So, at number 5, we have the animated show of Iron Man.
Oh, he's Justin Hammer in that. I saw that. And that's the most he's in, right? He's in like 10 episodes or more, 11?
He's in 11.
Lucky number 11.
And so that's number 5.
Okay.
Number 4 is Coronation Street.
Oh, no, that's a big show.
Mm-hmm.
So is this going in ascending or just random numbers? Oh, so he's in more.
So he's in more episodes of Coronation
17.
Street. 13.
Damn, that's the number of this episode, number 13 of season 2.
Next, The Days of Our Lives.
Was he in The Days of Our Lives?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. 17.
15.
If I say 17, we'll get there eventually. Okay, number 3.
What I think is a British soap opera.
Ah.
Crossroads.
18.
46.
Whoa, that's a large jump.
Yes.
That's a large jump. Crikey.
Yep.
Okay, next show, 82.
Okay, so it was newcomers.
Next show, 82.
132.
Fuck me. And the first, wait, that's number 2, right?
No, that's number 1. So number 1. So
okay.
number 1 is newcomers with 132.
Wow, fuck
Then
me.
number 2 is Crossroads with 46. Number 3, 15 of Days of Our Lives. 4, 12 episodes of Coronation Street. And 5, 11 episodes of Iron Man. But another fun fact. So Newcomers was a soap in the 60s in England.
Of course.
And apparently only 5 episodes
Exist?
of the 430 episodes
Exist.
still exist.
Yeah, that's the British for you. How many of the first Doctor's one are we missing chunks of in general? They were bad with archiving.
Yep.
So is Australia, by the way. We were bad with archiving too. And I imagine America, but less so it seems. There's a lot of American TV we can still watch
I thought
from the
that
50s and 60s and 70s.
I hope that was fun for the listeners
Oh,
too.
I had fun at least. It made me happy. And yeah, unfortunately, he did pass away in early 2000s, I do believe.
2001, I believe.
Struggled with dementia and Alzheimer's. And yeah, how I found out who his wife was when I was looking him up, there was many articles from her in which she can't talk about it. It was a very bad time. She literally said, and this is so weird because I found out she was in Call the Midwife because they used a picture of her in Call the Midwife of her crying in Call the Midwife for an article in which she was talking about a very depressing thing in her real life, which I think is very tasteless. And it was her
But do you
saying,
understand the connection
what do you mean?
between her character in Call the Midwife
And her as a person?
and her husband's experience?
Oh, no, I guess it's that her character goes through that in the show. See, I don't know that. But what I'm saying is she basically said along the lines of, I can't think about it because if I do, I'll just top myself. That's what she said. It was that traumatic. But she also said it in the most British way possible.
Yes!
While I was asleep, the ship, it sang to me.
Hunter Prey. What would you rate it? Yum being bad, Yum being good.
Yum.
Yeah, it's a unanimous. It's Yum, so that means it's Yum because we both gave it a Yum. But Rachel, tell us all what we'll be talking about and what we'll be watching next time.
On the next Babylon 5.
There, all the honor lies.
Where? There?
Our Mbryo warrior is dead. And Sheridan is accused of murder, all part of a vengeful plot to unseat him. But not all the stations going on are so serious.
Oh boy.
Especially when a hot new souvenir hits the gift shop.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boing.
Well, people, make sure to tune in next episode to hear our thoughts on that one. Make sure to give that episode a revisit. You can keep up with us and interact with us on your social media platform of choice. We're on practically all of them, aren't we, Rachel? People can find us under YumYumPodcast.
Yes.
And we're always posting on there, always engaging with people, getting into further conversations about what we've discussed here today on the pod.
But Ryan, some people may have been around for a little while.
Yes.
And we thank them. We also thank you for the positive reviews that you've left us on the various podcatchers
of your choice. And if you haven't, there's still time. Just move your finger over and press on the thing and press the things and write the things. And, it takes 2 seconds.
Only yum-yums, please.
Only yum-yums, which is, of course, positive.
Yeah. They may be wondering.
I'm wondering.
Star Trek Discovery's on, and you're not talking about it.
Well, it finished,
Picard was on.
Yeah, Picard's happening, yeah.
You're not talking about it.
Well.
So, what's the go, Ryan? What's the go?
Discovery will happen when it happens. As the great Linkara said, it will come out when it's ready. Our discussions on it.
But do the people have to wait for Picard?
Well, at the moment on Patreon, we have we're going through and watching Star Trek Picard as it comes out, and we are giving our thoughts on it, and we have many other pieces of content on our Patreon. We're talking about the X-Men movies. We've gone through all the best and worst rated episodes of Star Trek, according to IMDb. We've gone through the top 5. We're giving our thoughts on random pieces of media, and we are going to, hopefully, if we have enough energy, cover Strange New Worlds as well on the Patreon, as give our thoughts on it as it comes out. So if you're hungry to hear our takes, our spicy, hot, delicious
it's going to be yum.
Oh, of course.
So just take the opportunity.
We have a group Discord, don't we, Rachel, that you can be a part of if you join the Patreon. You can engage with the other patrons there, the exclusive yumlings of that variety. So if you have
yeomen, ensigns, and captains.
Yeah, we have our different tiers with different rewards and different perks and all that amazing stuff. So head on over there. All of this is in the description.
We make it easy for you.
I had to take a little bit of a breath there because I realized we're brave because we are the only Australian Babylon 5 rewatch podcast who also says yum yum to do this. We sit down, and that's brave. I'm sure that Sheridan would have put a little red ribbon on a thing for me to come follow him, and he could talk to me in a smoky room, and he leans over and whispers in my ear, "Did you notice Jakar wasn't in this episode?" I did. I did notice he wasn't in this episode, and it was very sad. I was crying on the inside that he wasn't here, because if he was here, he would have said it.
Your ship needs to sing you to sleep tonight.
Oh, okay. If Kosh's ship could speak, whose voice would you want to hear come out of it? Pick an actor that's not in Babylon 5 already. Who would speak as Kosh's ship's voice? I've got my pick. It's very easy. Mine's a very easy pick.
Go for it.
Okay. I would really, really love to hear Paul Giamatti's voice come out of that ship.
I want Brian Blessed.
Well, you win. I mean, once you pick the Blessed card, is there any topping it? Gordon's alive!
Oh, but Ryan, you need to say good eating to you.
Good eating to you! I can't do the full Blessed or I'll blow the mic.
Good eating to you!
If I did, I'll blow the mic out. But, oh man. Reboot. Get Blessed on the phone. Get him to be Jakar. Could you imagine? Could you imagine him as Jakar? And he says that in the opening credits. In the opening credits, he says, "Good eating to you!"